Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the virtual Fireside Chats here on the BPHL Facebook page. My name is Dan Weitzer. I am the co-founder of BPHL and also a senior innovation consultant at Independent Blue Cross. And today I'm very excited because we have our very first two-person interview at the same time. We have never done this before, so this is very exciting. We have Evan Brandoff, the co-founder and CEO of LeagueSide, and Riley Cote, the former Philadelphia Flyer and the co-founder of Athletes for Care, amongst other things. I feel like you co-found so many different things, Riley. We could be here for 5 minutes saying everything that you do. Thank you both for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And sorry about my 4-year-old daughter screaming in the background.
It's all good. What's it called? So yeah, let's get right into it. And I also want to reiterate to everyone, if you have questions while you're watching, feel free to put them in the comments and we'll try to get them as we're going along. So can you both let us know like what it is you're doing right now? So Evan, can you explain what LeagueSide is? And then after that, Riley, can you talk about Athletes for Care?
Yeah, so LeagueSide, we're based right here in Philly. We're the nation's leading youth sports sponsorship platform. So we have a network of 10,000 community sports leagues across the country on our platform. And companies including Comcast, Panda Express, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia log into our platform in order to sponsor community youth sports leagues in their target regions to achieve their local marketing goals while simultaneously helping kids play sports.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
cool. So Riley, Athletes for Care.
Yeah, so Athletes for Care is a 501c3 nonprofit founded by athletes, but it's for everyone. It's using the sports platform to engage in real life issues for not just the current athlete, but for the retiring athletes and transitioning into the real world. But what we realized, and I experienced this for myself, is just a mismanagement of pain management solutions. So we really got together in regards to wellness and mental wellness and helping guys find identity. But we realized that there was an opioid crisis, not just within the microcosm of sports, but it affected obviously all of society. So just trying to impact the community with different programming. So one of the big things we got into originally was alternative medicine, like cannabis as an alternative solution, and then just all things wellness, and then just making a positive impact in the community. So pairing up with LeagueSide made a whole lot of sense in a completely different world. Just supporting something that is near and dear to our hearts as athletes, because we wouldn't have ever had a collegiate or professional career had it not been for youth sports. So just all things that really truly matter, because we're talking about mental wellness and emotional well-being. And I think sports have a big part in developing children and really focusing on those things. So happy to be a part of that. And it's kind of the 101 on Athletes for Care.
That's great. And actually that's a perfect transition to the program and the campaign that you guys are doing right now. So the Save Youth Sports campaign, Riley, can you talk a little bit about that? And then you guys can talk like how that came to be and what you're doing and the hopes for it for the future.
Yeah, it came to be because of Evan and LeagueSide. They're obviously heavily into sports and youth sports, and obviously with the coronavirus affecting everyone, but it certainly affects little things that most people don't think about. And the numbers that Evans relayed to us as far as how many kids are involved in youth sports and the impact that it's going to have on children from a certain age, and how big of a piece it was in my childhood. The correlation to mental wellness. So just I know for a lot of people, it'll be like, oh, there's other things to worry about than youth sports. Well, you're talking about our youth, and we're talking about keeping kids, busy in a positive fashion, keeping their mental faculties strong through sports, coaching, teamwork, all these positive things that help develop them as they grow older and develop those mental wellness skills. So it was just a perfect fit with Athletes for Care, seeing we're involved in the community and we're trying to help children of all ages and people of all ages. So it was a natural fit.
Yeah, going off of that, Riley, LeagueSide, we surveyed our network of 10,000 community sports leagues last month. And what we learned from that survey is it's really scary how dire the youth sports situation is because of COVID. 47% of community youth sports organizations might not be able to recover financially because of this financial impact. And additionally, 33% of families said that they can't afford for their kids to play sports because of jobs lost during COVID. Additionally, we also learned how 95% of parents consider youth sports as the main way that their kids stay physically active, and 85% of parents think of youth sports as the key way that their kids make friends and learn essential skills in the community. So based off of that data, we knew that we needed to do something in order to save youth sports. And we were so fortunate to be able to partner with Riley and the folks at Athletes for Care in order to launch the Save Youth Sports campaign. And now you could go to saveyouthsports2020.com to see that campaign in action. We're raising both donations and sponsorships to go back to youth sports programs and youth sports families that need the extra support in order to be able to get back to playing sports when we're able to go outside and be together.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. So what can people do to support this, and what can they do for, you know, the hashtag and all that, whether it's in their town or across the country as well? Evan, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, and there's a lot of honking outside, so I apologize if that's in the background.
All good.
So go to saveyouthsports2020.com. You could donate. But another thing we're doing that's been a lot of fun, it just launched yesterday, is the Save Youth Sports Challenge.
Yeah.
Where you post on social media a youth sports memory. It could be a funny photo. Riley's posted a couple of those. Not funny, but
yeah. Some good memories.
Yeah,
great memories. Yeah, so post a photo or a video of you or your kids playing youth sports, and then tag some former teammates or friends in order to go do the same thing. So our goal here is to do a fun challenge that's nostalgic. You have to go back, look at old photos, bring back some great memories, hopefully catch up with some old friends and old teammates, and circulate the Save Youth Sports Challenge. But most importantly, go to saveyouthsports2020.com in order to donate and help kids play sports.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I got to call my mom and be like, hey, can you find some pictures of me and send them over?
Right.
Because, you know, it's like you said, Riley, it's so important. And I don't think people really realize until now when there's, you know, something happens where their kids can't go do it, or they're thinking back because of the great campaign that you guys are doing, how important those youth sports are. I mean, for me, I think playing multiple sports, I played ice hockey, I played soccer, I played baseball, and all those things taught me so many things that got me to the future. I don't think I'd be where I am now if I didn't do those things. I wouldn't know the people I know now. So I'm so appreciative of the things that you guys are doing. And when Brandon or Evan told me, I was like, thank you. Like, that's amazing. Like, that's why I wanted to do this. Like, I really appreciate it. It's so great what you guys are doing. So going off of that, how important do you feel youth sports are for growing future innovators and entrepreneurs? You know, Riley, like, I know that you were in professional sports and now you're an entrepreneur. Like, how important do you think those things are, and how correlated are they?
Well, I think sports just teach you so many life skills. So it's just, to me, it's a win-win. You're getting physical exercise, you're getting, you know, some emotional release and you know, expression, and you're learning so much. You're learning a lot about yourself, team, you know, the team aspects, just taking direction, working well together, and all of that good stuff, which, you know, easily translates into the real world. Yeah. So there's certainly some synergies there, but I think you know, it just, for a lot of people, I mean, most kids will never make it to the professional ranks. And I saw a stat the other day from, you know, just hockey players, and it was like 0.025% of all kids that ever put on blades will ever play one NHL game, and that's just the reality of it. But you know, and that's how far you can take it if you're really good. But I think the life lessons that you take along with it, whether you make it or not, are just as important. And, you know, I think it just has the ability to take kids off the street, giving kids an opportunity to do something productive in a positive, constructive atmosphere that they might never have done otherwise. You know what I mean? It's like if you become bored and distracted, that's usually when you get into trouble. And I think sports have a way of just keeping people, you know, say in line, but just busy, you know, in a positive fashion. So whether you make it or not, I think that's not really the point. Yeah. It's just the positive reinforcements and skills you learn along the way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. There's something I wanted to mention, and it was something I didn't think about until I heard this conversation. So I don't know if you're familiar. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is a professional soccer player, very famous around the world. He came here a few years ago, and he was surprised at how much it cost for his kids to play soccer here in the United States. I think he said it was like $3,500 a kid for this team that they were playing on. Now, Evan, like you guys are trying to help with this. Do you think like how it's a barrier, obviously, but how can people, utilizing LeagueSide, how can leagues help out with that so that more kids can have access to playing sports and they don't have to have this barrier?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it is crazy how expensive it could be for kids to play sports, especially at the elite level. LeagueSide's mission is to give all kids the opportunity to play. So we're going to be, with the dollars that we raise through the Save Youth Sports campaign and from our main business model of connecting sponsors with community youth sports organizations, going to be giving opportunities to subsidize significant cost for kids to participate in sports. Our main focus, and this gets back to what Riley was speaking to before, we want kids to be able to play at the elite level, but our main focus right now is just making sure that recreational organizations and communities stay active, and those only cost a few $100s for kids to participate. And a fun fact, 95% of Fortune 500 CEOs are former athletes.
Oh, wow.
Not necessarily at an elite level, but it just speaks to how important it is at a young age, learning all those life lessons from being on a team, playing sports, being physically active together. So to your original question, we're building, we want to subsidize costs for all kids to play sports, but specifically just want to make sure that they're able to stay active. And Riley, I know you have your 4-year-old. Is your 4-year-old playing sports yet?
She'll be enrolled in soccer this summer, but she's already riding a bike. Took the training wheels off actually 2 weeks ago. Shooting around a puck a little bit and a ball out here, but she's definitely going to be playing a sport, and she also likes dance and everything else. But I'm just trying to kind of like give her a taste of everything and see what she likes the most. And as long as she's expressing in a positive fashion, I don't really care what it is. But yeah, she'll definitely be introduced to hockey. And my younger one, she's 3, and she actually wants to be a hockey player more than my 4-year-old does. My 4-year-old's complaint is that it's a little bit cold and stinky. So I'm working on that mental toughness component, but yeah, certainly soccer this summer for sure. Get them going.
That's awesome. That's great. And I feel like adult intramural leagues are really big right now. I feel like they've gotten so much bigger over time, and some of my closest friends I met through going to play in an adult league, and that's where I feel like the youth sports, it starts there. You don't know where it's going to take you, whether it's professional or whether it's just an outlet for you over the weekends, when you become an adult. But you're still going to be learning that entire time. So it's great that you guys are doing that. I can talk about sports all day. So, let's transition a little bit to, you both have obviously started businesses and nonprofits. What advice can you give to people, especially in the current climate, that really want to start either a new business or a nonprofit? You want to start, Riley?
Sure. I think for me personally, it's just finding something that you love and believe in, and then there's obviously multiple things that could fall under that umbrella. But for me, it was like it was wellness, and then there's different sections of wellness, and it was just easy for me to engage in something that I truly believed in. And for me, it was hemp derived CBD, and in yoga, and this just all around life, life transformations and personal growth type stuff. So. I know everyone's different. Everyone's got their passions. For me, just being a hockey player in my previous life, and I guess learning the hard way and learning, about real true health and wellness versus just being, a physical specimen, right? Understanding the full package. So I would just say find something that you really enjoy doing, and putting time in, so it doesn't feel so much like work, but you just got to believe in it, and I'm in the healing space, so it's easy to hop on. A vision and a purpose that supports helping people and providing alternative solutions. So I know everyone's different. Everyone's got a different, creative way to express themselves. But I think you just follow your heart and, you do what you think is right. And I think it always generally lands up being about helping people. So it's probably another, tip there too, is just, we got to help each other out and do things together with a positive attitude. But just following your heart and doing what feels right.
Definitely. No, that's,
Yeah.
what about you, Evan?
Totally agree with everything Riley just said. Tactically, get a lot of people want to start different companies and don't know where to start. A perfect example is I'm helping someone out who wants to start a game, an app where it's trivia, but it's tournament style. So you as you win, you could go and win the tournament. So he came to me asking, all right, where should I go to raise capital and where are developers to build my game? So I said, love the scrappiness, but take a step back. Why don't we validate this game? Why don't we get 16 friends, create a bracket, and just do it over the phone or over Zoom? We could create a bracket and do trivia. So he's now validating this game. The game has iterated 5 times since that initial launch. And now it's getting to a point where there's a couple hundred people that are picking him and want to play his game. And that validation is what he needed to go out and then build the game. Now you could find the developers. Now you could go to raise capital because you had that validation. So the advice that I try to give to stop rambling is just think of what is the most simple way to validate whatever it is you're trying to do, and just go talk to people and get that validation.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
That's a really good point too, because you can have a lot of ideas and really good ideas, and and think you're gonna make money with these ideas, but if you don't, they're either just hobbies or waste of time. But you have to prove that it works, otherwise that's not really business anymore, right? So it's like, yeah, following your heart's one, but that's a really good point, because there's a lot of things that people think of, and it's like, well, is there really a true need for it? How much effort am I going to put into this to see if there's a true need for it? But something like that, it makes a good point, because you could spend a lot of time spinning your tires, on something that you really love and believe in. But if it's not validated, you might want to move on to the next idea. Yeah, so that's a good point.
Definitely, and it's funny that you say that, because as part of the innovation team at Independence Blue Cross, we use the design thinking model for helping and solutioning, and that's exactly what we tell people. Is you can have an idea, but you don't know if your product's going to actually work until you talk to people, you interview, you go through that step-by-step process, and you helped him so much by just doing that, and look how much it's grown. So that's amazing. That's a great story. So we've actually had some questions. Someone said, how can we get parents who have difficulty with paying, or even for even recreational sports for their children, get information about your organization, Evan?
Yeah, please go to LeagueSide.com, LeagueSide.com, and sign your organization up. Join our network. It's no cost to join our network. Joining our network just then gives us the tools and resources we need in order to be able to go out and help you guys get sponsorships.
That's great. And we have another question. I'm not going to read everything that she wrote, but I'll just say, any ideas on how parents can fill the social, emotional, and physical gaps during this time?
I lost you guys.
Oh, did you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can't hear you guys.
Oh, no.
Thank you, Jesse. Oh,
I'm bringing Riley back. Let's see. Can you hear us now? Oh, man. All right. I'm going to try to bring him back in.
I see both of you.
Yeah, I can see him too.
Well,
while I try to get him back, do you want to try to answer the question of filling the gap?
I don't know what happened, guys. I can't hear you.
Oh, man.
Nope. Well, yeah, I'll take a stab at that. So how to fill, sorry, rereading the question.
Yeah.
Any ideas parents can help fill the social, emotional, and physical gaps during these times? And kudos to you.
I can't hear anything you guys are saying, sorry.
Kudos to you. I can't imagine parenting during this time. It's incredibly difficult, and what I would say in order to fill that gap is what I've been encouraging my nephews to do. Is it's so easy for them to just be on social media all day, or to just play video games with their friends. what I've been encouraging them to do is actually get on a Zoom meeting with their teammates. Something that LeagueSide is doing is we have a few sponsors in the QSR space, including Moe's and Dunkin', and what we're doing is we're creating team meals where everyone has dinner together to create that social interaction, and we'll create some prompts of different ideas that or team sessions that they could talk about, and getting the coach involved as well. It's really hard in these times, but yeah, trying to get kids to actually interact and more so than just playing video games together is what we've seen been effective in the LeagueSide network.
Definitely. Riley, are you able to hear us now?
I'm back.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. We could see and hear you.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
No, it's all good. Someone asked about and had a great response. How can parents fill the social, emotional, and physical gaps during this time that their kids can't, be playing recreational sports?
I still think there's certain things you can do to keep your body and mind active, right? I mean, it's just getting creative with your space and the environment that you can use. So whether it's just simple walks to the park, get on a bike, I know a lot of people aren't really understanding of yoga, but there's a million YouTube channels you can hop onto and do some simple mindful movement.
Yeah.
I think the bottom line is just staying busy and active with physical and emotional positive expression. So maybe you're getting a little more artsy than you normally do to keep your mind sane. But I still think especially now with the spring coming here and the weather turning, getting outside and just being a kid and whether it's just kicking around a ball and working on some of your skills. I think there's always a positive way to look at a negative situation. And if you're a hockey player, just extra ball work, extra balance, extra work. I mean, it all depends on your discipline first of all, and your desire to stay moving, because it's easy to get complacent and stagnant and just sit around and use this as an excuse. But to me, it's like I've been taking advantage of this to get outside with my daughters and go on bike rides and just do things that I wasn't able to do before based on just work and kids daycare and all that stuff. So I think there's easy positive ways to keep kids active, and it's just it's getting creative, but just simple stuff, taking your shoes off and running around on the grass, you know what I mean? It's old school grounding, but I think at this point it's just keeping ourselves sane and keeping our mindset positive and well. So just get through this.
Yeah,
I think lining. Sorry.
What was that?
I was going to say a silver lining is I never thought I'd hear the day that my nephews and my niece were begging to go back to school.
Yeah, it's true.
So hopefully some time at home, a lot of kids are feeling that way, and we'll be glad when schools open back up.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
definitely.
The whole thing is just structure, right? I mean, I think that's what sports teaches too, is structure. It's regimens, and as soon as kids get out, or anybody really for that matter, if anyone gets out of that structure, they get bored and they get into trouble and and whatnot. Yeah. So I think creating that structure for your kid, whether it's actual regimented from art to workout to whatever, but I feel like once your kids go to school and they come back home and there's no actual true legitimate structure, it's easy for them to kind of get at each other's throat. They got extra time on their hands, you know what I mean? But as soon as they're guided in a proper direction, all of a sudden their attitudes change, their behavior changes. As long as you can just focus that energy on a specific thing, I think that's the key. But sports certainly does teach you that, because when you're practicing and you're playing games, like all your effort and all your attention is focused on playing the game, right? So you can use those lessons to to really tackle this situation, is just just be more structured, more regimented, and keeping your mind well.
And I think you can even do things in creative ways, like exercising with your kid or doing things with your kid. Like, I saw a video before this all happened of a gym teacher. They're playing tic-tac-toe, but they had to sprint to the tic-tac-toe board and throw their beanbag down and run back, and then, go back and forth like that. So that could be a cool thing parents can do.
Yeah.
You're getting to run and work out, but you're also getting them, their energy out. Like, morphing how things work. Definitely. So those are all great. So let's talk about COVID real quick. We have about 6 minutes left. How have your organizations, changed the process and innovated what you're doing because of COVID? You want to start, Evan?
Sure. We've all been working from home. LeagueSide, we connect community youth sports leagues with regional and national sponsors. with no youth sports, our initial concern was that we were going to lose a lot of the sponsors that we have. But what we're really fortunate about, and is just a sign of how amazing the people on the LeagueSide team is, and the value proposition of being connected to community of sports leagues, is that our retention has been 100% through COVID-19, and our sponsors are just really excited about the proposition of helping to bring these youth sports programs back and bringing people together in the community when people are able to get outside. So in terms of work, COVID, we've been working from home. In some senses, we're a lot more productive because you don't always get a lot done when you're actually in the office. And we've been able to focus on projects that we kept putting off because there was never enough time to achieve so many longer term projects. So it's been a really good reset, focus on things that we know are going to move the business in the future, and validate some new concepts for when COVID is over.
Nice. That's great. What about you, right? Because you have multiple, businesses and things you're doing. So how have you adjusted with that?
Yeah, so the Hemp Thrive CBD company, Body Check Wellness, lands up being all virtual now, right? I mean, there's no brick and mortars that are supporting our products right now. So we had to just obviously shift our marketing strategies to all things online and just being creative with that. So a little bit interesting there. We also had another project kind of in line with the actual product line was a hemp processing facility with a state university that we signed an LOI right before this thing hit. And it's obviously a state university that's, through the government and the whole bit. So obviously they have different priorities. So that was kind of on hold. So it certainly affected a few of my things in a negative way. It's also made us shift again, our marketing strategies in a more creative way, which is I'm more involved in. So I've been realizing how much more creative I am than I thought I was. Not that I didn't think I was, but just like in different worlds. So there's always a silver lining in all this. I'm learning a lot about myself again, and just adapting, and just trying to just maintain a positive mental attitude in this whole thing, and know this thing's going to blow over. But just try and again just understand social media better and these online platforms a little better to get more eyes on our product, because obviously a lot more people are spending more time on their tablets and phones, and again, a lot of people are dealing with anxiety and stress, so they're looking for solutions to manage this. So our online sales have actually improved, believe it or not. But I would have thought that it would have it's just taken a hit, but I didn't really understand really what we're getting ourselves into, especially when we lose wholesale accounts. But it is what it is. I think everyone's going through it to some degree. Unfortunately, it's the smaller guys, whether it's brick and mortars, that are suffering from this, and the big dogs are able to thrive and still maintain business within the regulations. But to me, we gotta get going here. It's like the collateral damage is gonna be far more damaging than the virus itself, or the fear that it's instilled in people is far more damaging than this virus itself. We just gotta become normal and human again here. Otherwise, there's going to be the collateral damage and the mental health and the depression and the anxiety and the poverty, and all these things are going to equate to deaths and mental illness too. So we gotta get moving on this. I know it's off topic there, but that's my opinion.
No, definitely makes sense. So before we end, what do you think the biggest takeaway will be from this period of isolation for moving forward towards the future? Because obviously life's going to be different moving forward. So what do you think the biggest takeaway from this time will be? You want to start, Ryan?
Sure. I just think shows you how fragile life is, in some regards, where everything is moving along just like at warp speed, and all of a sudden one thing can just put a halt to everything. And it's supposed to be about wellness, and it's putting people indoors and changing up their crazy lives. So there's certainly a lot of positives to take out of this, some self-reflection, and maybe sitting back and relaxing a little bit, as hard as it is with a lot of these unknowns or this misinformation that's thrown around. But I think it's a time to reflect on your life, and maybe this is a message from Mother Nature to some degree, saying, "Oh, let's reel it in. Let's take time for ourselves. Let's be more present. Let's take time with our children." but also understanding that we still have to, make money to survive in this world too. So just, maybe just restructuring our approach once this thing passes and having maybe a little bit more concrete plan on survival or whatever you want to call it, because obviously if this happens once, it can happen again. So preparation, taking care of our immunity, maybe a little more focus on our health and our mental health. So there's certainly a lot to take out of this, in my opinion. For me, I was in a pretty good regiment of, self-care and discipline, but I think there's a whole other layer there too, where I've learned a lot about, my time and how valuable my time is, and now how to integrate my workings with my children and try and teach them some of the things that I know to be true through the time I have with them now. So
Definitely. No, that's amazing. That's great.
Yeah. For me, I hope a lot of the bad habits, health-wise, that I've broken out of necessity during COVID, like eating out for lunch too often, not exercising enough. Really hope that I take those with me in post-quarantine life. But I think the biggest takeaway that I've had that hope to stay with me and want to share with you all is staying present is a hot topic right now, but have really understood exactly what that means during this experience. Because when I start thinking about, when my mind starts drifting towards what does the future look like, both personally, professionally, because of COVID, that's when I get stressed and that's when I get really anxious, because we don't know how bad this virus is or how bad it's going to be. We don't know what the impact is going to be on the economy. But when I'm able to stay present and just think about what are my goals for today, what are my goals for this week, able to set myself up and the team up to have those short-term wins, to have that positive mentality. And that is what being present means to me, and staying present and having those short-term goals has yielded me being, arguably the best mindset I've been in years. So.
Wow.
Good.
That's great. That's great to hear, especially because I know a lot of people are, going the opposite, with their mindset. So it's nice to hear, having those goals, and hopefully people will take that away and think of that for themselves, to make those, easy goals and to think about that to feel better, because like Riley said, a lot of people have anxiety right now of what's going on. So, but yeah, this was great. Thank you so much. I just want to reiterate, everyone. So #SaveYouthSports, post a picture of your childhood image, correct? And tag a friend, to support what's going on, correct?
Cool. 5,
yes.
10, 15,
5,
20.
Yeah, there's many tags.
Tag all your friends.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you both so much. We really appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you being part of BPHL last year as well. The first year, it was great. It was bigger than we imagined, and we really appreciate you being involved in it. You being involved in this. So yeah, thank you again. And if anyone has any questions or want to learn more about what they're doing, feel free to message the BPHL page, and we'll forward your information along. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being on again. And yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Perfect.
Help us save youth sports. Save youth sports 2020.com.
Appreciate it.